Another gorgeous sunset in the books. Look at that sucker. It don't get prettier than that. Here's some of the fruit trees I was talking to you. Every one of these trees has some sort of exotic fruit on it. And over here, this is the compound. You can hear my daughter screaming about something. Shabbat is over. We are a Shomer Shabbos family out here. I'll explain that in a minute. When the sun goes down on Friday night, all the way until the sundown on Saturday night, there is no electricity. So everything is shut off or on some sort of timer, and all the meals are either cooked in advance or done in a way or heated in a way where they can be sort of warmed up as they go. There's a lot of swimming during the day and reading of books and eating fruit and just hanging out. And now that the sun is set, the electronics can come back on. Me, myself, not being Shomer Shabbos, I am simply very discreet in my room as to not to offend my father-in-law, who is very religious. I am not religious at all. I am what's known as a secular Jew. So I'm a Jew in entirety, but religiously I am not practicing. I'm a non-practicing Jew. Still makes me a Jew no matter what. If you are born Jewish, you will always be Jewish. Even if you convert, you are still a Jew. That's the way Judaism kind of works. So even the Jews that convert and they're doing other stuff, they are still Jews. You are a Jew no matter what.
Put it in the middle so Jojo can see too. Mani Amarti? Oh my God.
No, it's a worm. What is that thing? That's not a snake. It's not a snake. It's some kind of worm. It seems injured. Whoa. So basically what you are seeing is the ritual of Havdalah, which happens at the beginning of a new week. Shabbat ends the week, and you celebrate the beginning of the new week with Havdalah, which just starts afresh and new. And they do this every week, 365 days a year. Well, 52 weeks a year. And this is my family. Can you hear the frogs? Listen to the frogs. Those are horny desert frogs trying to get it in. They get super loud at night. Whew. So I listened to the recording, and it was something. It was definitely something. They were right. They were right about a couple of things. One thing they were right about, I was not a good fit for that place. I never was. I fell into that job, and I always felt like an imposter. I was always second guessing myself because I was working for a contrarian. What's the best way to say this? They were it seems like almost like an oxymoron. They were a contrarian who was also micromanaging and who also worked by proxy. A non-communicative, that's what I'm trying to say. Non-communicative, micromanaging contrarian. What is a contrarian? A contrarian is you bring them black and they say, I want white. Or, oh, no, actually I want white. Or you bring them white and they say, no, actually I want black. And then someone who communicates by proxy is they're not confrontational, so they basically start using someone else as a proxy to micromanage Okay, that's the third part. So you're getting micromanaged by someone else who is being used as a proxy so that they don't look crazy when they really are crazy. And I was no angel. I did not respond well. I did not. Sometimes I can have a problem with authority, and that surely didn't help. And I was careless. I guess that's really why that was the final straw, was that I was just really careless. And I think I was careless because it was a way of me pushing myself off a cliff where I was never going to quit. I was never going to quit because, like I said, I wanted to quit the job, but I couldn't quit the money. And I couldn't quit the money because the money was security. And I wanted to be the person that was a good provider for my children and contributing to the household income along with my wife, because we both work. And, a lot of people were losing their jobs last year at that time. Who am I to go and quit a job because I hate it so much? I just got to suck it up and deal with it. But I was miserable, so fucking miserable. It was the worst. I was dead inside. And when you're dealing with a non-communicative, micromanaging contrarian for a boss who also happens to be the HR person, right? Could you imagine having to complain about someone and the person you're complaining to is the same person? Like, you can't. It's impossible. Terrible way to run your organization. And I just, the byproduct of all this stuff was of staying there and sort of just staying there. No matter how uncomfortable I was, it was even more uncomfortable to leave. That was the truth. And it wasn't a good time to leave. And, there was too much uncertainty, and it seemed like an awful lot of work when I was trying to do other things. What are the other things I'm trying to do? This job was it's just a means to an end. It's a means to an end because the thing that I really am, and that I always have been, and that I always will be, is a creative content creator. That's what I do. A creative content creator. That's funny. But that's what I am. That's what I do. I create content. I'm creative, and it's very hard to make money being a content creator, and it's very hard making money being creative. And you have to be really creative in order to make money. And it's not easy. And so you try to you force yourself to fit, you force yourself to conform. That's such a cliche word. Conforming, you force yourself to conform to a situation because you want to have your cake and eat it too. There's so many people out there that are content creators and they don't have families, because being a content creator and having a family kind of don't always work together. And then there's some people that have families and are content creators, and they do something that makes them money, that, your day job, your life job, your day gig, so that you can have your cake and eat it too. And I guess that's the camp that I fall into. And so I'm like trying to fit myself into this hole, this box, whatever, this pigeonhole that I don't fit into. And at the same time, it's wearing me down. It's just so wearing me down. Like, my self-esteem and my dignity and just like all this stuff, my self-respect. I guess that's the same as self-esteem. Self-esteem, self-respect, dignity, integrity, all of these things are just being grounded down to a nub going into this place. It's like in my private life, I'm doing these incredibly independent, creative things that aren't affording me a paycheck. And then I go in to this 40-hour-a-week job where I have the weekends for my kids, and when I can leave at 5 o'clock, I leave, and I have a paycheck that arrives every week, and I get in there, and I'm like this nothing. I have these two old ladies standing over me, micromanaging every mouse click that I make over a publication. I mean, this was crazy. Like, I was designing the layout for a publication for something, a periodical that nobody read. They were printing up 600 copies of a thing that people were just throwing in the trash. Even the religious leader that was there knew that it was bullshit, that it was a bullshit. He said so. He said it to us in the office one day when he wasn't getting his way. You know what I mean? And yet here I am with two old ladies hovering over me, telling, this triangle doesn't read well, and look at that font, and blah, blah, blah. It's just like, is this what's important? Is this what's important in life? I don't think any of this stuff is important. Through it all, I just became incredibly, incredibly burnt out, dead inside, going through the motions, doing the least amount of work that I possibly could do, becoming incompetently lazy and forgetful. And basically, like, as I said, I was making a lot of mistakes I wasn't even trying to make. There were times where I was really, really trying my hardest, and I was still making mistakes somehow. And I just really think at the end of the day, like deep down inside, I knew that I didn't want to be there anymore. And so it finally came to a head. They waited until the end of the fiscal year. And a week before the end of the fiscal year, they were like, I kept getting subtle pushes to use the rest of my vacation days. I had 7 vacation days saved up, which, by the way, if you leave the organization, you can cash those out for money. It's time earned. And I was instructed and pressured and pushed to use those days up because we only have them for a year. It's use them or lose them policy. I received an email talking about the contracts for next year, which included me. I was on the schedule for like the Zoom meetings, about the contracts. We had yearly contracts. And so I took my 7 days, and June 24th, 9 a.m. I mean, it was a traumatizing experience for me. I'd never been fired like that or laid off in that kind of way. I go onto this Zoom meeting, and there is not only just my boss, but the president. And someone had said, like, oh no, you don't have to worry. The only time you should worry is if there's another person there. That means you're getting fired. And there was another person there, and they let me go. And here's the contents of the recording. I let them have it, man. I let them have it. I was like, really? Really? Your first person and 15 minutes? Because there was a meeting after where we were all supposed to be in the same Zoom meeting, because again, this is COVID. We were all supposed to go back to the main meeting afterwards, where I was going to tell everybody that I had been fired and it was nice working with you and goodbye. And I was like, do you really think I'm going to go back to that meeting? You really wanted to do this first. And then I was like, oh, now I know. You wanted to get the hardest thing out of the way. That's what you wanted to do. You wanted to get the hardest part of your day or beginning of your week, which was really the middle of the week, out of the way so that everything would be easier. Well, how about that? Like stuff like that. And I basically just kept interrupting them and spoke over them. And I spoke my mind. I spoke from the bottom of my heart. I even said this. I said, listen, I need to get this stuff out. I need to get this stuff out because if I don't, it's just going to rot inside of me. So you know what? I've kept my mouth shut for 3 years, and now it's time for me to say what's on my chest. Because it's true. I had kept my mouth shut. There were so many times where I bit my lip. I sat on my hands. I didn't say shit. I didn't react because I knew that I needed this job. I needed this job because I had kids depending on me. I had a wife that was depending on me. It was irresponsible. It was irresponsible to do anything that could contribute to me getting fired. And yet here on the side, I'm kind of doing that anyway. I mean, I definitely contributed to my downfall at that place greatly. And I've definitely learned from some of those mistakes. But at the same time, it was a toxic environment where I was never appreciated or wanted to begin with. It's like I traded my life force. I traded my time. I traded my energy. I think about so many wasted days where I was doing very little, but I still had to be there because I was supposed to be there from 9 to 5. I was like, well, think about all the things that I could be doing. And I was kind of doing when there was nothing to do, I was writing my fucking screenplay. You know what I mean? I was doing stuff on the side. Technically that's an embezzlement of company time, if you think about it. In the end, she did, I guess maybe she got the last laugh in the sense that she did the thing that she wanted to do. They got rid of me. They finally got rid of me. But I would say also maybe I got the last laugh because I got to tell my boss and my boss's boss off for 19 glorious minutes. I got to speak my mind freely. And it was glorious. And I said all sorts of embarrassing things that my boss definitely did not want her boss to know. And you know what it is? I got to speak about my frustrations to the person who was frustrating me. And that felt really good. That was a really great feeling. And now I've been floating in the ether I got to head back because my wife is making us bagel toast, and she's going to be mad if I don't return. And so where am I at today? Where has this journey taken me? I told you how at the tail end, when I was really disillusioned, I started getting really involved with live streaming again, and now it's become my life. It's become a full-time job that's not paying a full-time salary. And that's why I'm doing the Patreon and all that stuff. I'm trying to make it into a full-time salary to go with the full-time job. I just started doing the thing that I think I'm good at. The thing some people, some YouTube commentators don't agree. What I mean to say is some people in the YouTube comments don't agree. Not everybody is going to agree, but this is what I think I'm good at doing. And so I'm doing it. And, it is bringing some income. And I wanted to bring more. And so I'm just going to keep doing it and doing it and doing it. As I said in the Patreon pitch video, maybe I will crash and burn. But you want to know what the difference is? I'm spending my time trying. Because at the end of the day, I'm 35. And every minute that passes is a minute that I am closer to whatever grave I will occupy. Sorry to sound so grim. Which I hope is a long time from now. Knock on some wood if there was some wood to knock on. But every minute that passes is a minute closer to the grave. And I don't want to spend any more fucking time in a place like the place I was in for 3 years, just wasting away. I don't want to do it. And you want to know something? I can still provide for my children. I'll do whatever I need to do. I'll go back to restaurants. I will do whatever it takes. I'll find another gig like it if I have to. I'll do whatever it takes at the end of the day. Because here's the thing. The number one most important thing in the world is my 2 children and their well-being, and that they get whatever they want in life. Then my wife. Then, I guess, my family. And then my ambitions, right? And so, I don't know. I'm just going to keep trying to grind at this and do something. Keep trying to make something happen. Because I got to tell you, I think about like all that time I wasted. I'm thinking like, thank God it was only 3 years, not 10 years. Because you want to know something? I don't have a lot to show artistically in those 3 years. I really don't. I mean, I did a couple of things, but for the most part, I have nothing to show. And in 1 year, I have more to show artistically than I do maybe in the last 5 years. How about that? Isn't that crazy when you think about it? Like, as a content creator, I have more to show and more to, I've done more stuff in a year and a half than maybe in the last 5 years put together. It just made me realize, like, dude, like, yes, like, you have to be responsible and, like, do, like, adult shit. But at the same time, like, life is fucking short. And I don't want, especially in the age of Corona where, so many people lost their lives from all walks of life. And I'm just like, I don't want that life. If I can help it. Like I said, kids first. But man, I don't want that life. Fuck that shit.